Coming up on ATV News.
I knew there wasn't a lot I could do just because it's a scary situation.
Could this be the result of a kid playing with fire?
Just because there are tracks on a hillside, unfortunately, it does not mean that it's safe.
We'll give you steps you can take to stay safe on the slopes.
It's a good check.
This slogan man got a check for almost $9,000 in the mail. We'll tell you why he didn't cash it.
The snow's all cleared out, but will it come back? I'll show you in weather.
The Aggies are headed to the big dance, but who and where will they play? I'll tell you what the experts have to say in sports.
All that and more, this is ATV News.
Thoughts and prayers to those that have suffered. I mean, this is devastating.
A man is dead after an explosion occurred inside a building. Welcome to this edition of ATV News. I'm Adam Larson.
And I'm Austin Elder.
Brigham City Police are investigating a Tuesday morning explosion. Police say when they arrived, the man inside of the building was already dead. The explosion did not cause any fire damage. A neighboring business owner hopes that the community can regroup.
These are good, strong people that'll rebuild and redo, and we need them to do that. But it will be hard for those that had lost it.
Police are not giving out identification until his family has been notified. They say he was in his 30s and had a family.
A family is now homeless after a child accidentally set their home ablaze. Firefighters quickly put out a fire that had flames coming out of this second-story window. The renter's sister was babysitting Monday when one of the kids said there had been an accident. She says she went upstairs and found a bed on fire. She tried putting out the flames, but eventually grabbed all the kids and headed outside.
There wasn't a lot I could do just because it's a scary situation.
Taylor was busy with the baby downstairs when the fire started. The fire didn't spread downstairs or to the neighboring house. Logan Fire says that after investigation, the fire was started with a lighter. Taylor advises if you notice kids are being quiet, they may be up to something.
Brad Bingham is in jail after robbing a local Instacare. An Intermountain Logan clinic reported a panic alarm last Wednesday. Police say Bingham stole 470 Xanax pills. They say Bingham walked in wearing a gray and red plaid jacket with a hood and sunglasses, threatening staff that he would, quote, take care of everyone in the building if they contacted authorities. Bingham is charged with aggravated robbery, possession of a firearm by a restricted person, and possession of a controlled substance.
With students and faculty returning from spring break travels around the world, USU is taking steps to slow the spread of the new coronavirus and encourages people to stay home if they're feeling sick to help stop the spread of disease.
My wife and I went to Las Vegas.
Tampa, Florida.
I went to California.
Paris and London for spring break.
As Aggies return back to campuses around the state, USU requested that anyone who traveled fill out a travel survey to help keep track of which part of the world Aggies visited.
It's a little nerve-wracking, especially right now. I think the timing of spring break hit kind of weird where it seems like all the worry about coronavirus and everything's kind of hitting an apex. And of course, this is the moment where we're bringing everybody back from all corners of the world.
With travel being one of the main ways the virus is spreading, USU posted signs across campus with steps to help stop the spread.
According to the CDC, one of the best ways to stop spreading germs, wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds.
The CDC reports nationwide 647 cases and 25 deaths. Utah reported its first case over the break. A St. George man was treated at Intermountain Medical Center in Murray. With classes back in session, teachers want students to
use data to make your decisions and do not panic.
Governor Herbert declared a state of emergency Friday to make additional resources and funding available to help Utah prepare to slow the spread of the disease.
You know, I hope this jacket my mom made me, Utah State jacket, helps fend off the disease, but if it doesn't, USU announced today that all events and traveling are canceled to combat the spread of the coronavirus. Classes are still being held, though. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says the April General Conference will be broadcast only to limit the spread of the coronavirus. Church officials say they are holding all 5 sessions in the conference center, but they won't be open to the public. Stake centers and meeting houses will be closed where the virus is a concern. The church also announced that stake conferences and other large meetings will be postponed in countries where the virus is a challenge. Sunday services have been reduced to just sacrament meeting. The church says missionaries are scheduled to enter the Missionary Training Center in Provo, Utah, or Preston, England, will be trained remotely by video conference. They say other training centers will continue to function as normal, but won't take missionaries from countries where governments are restricting activity. They're encouraging current missionaries to stay in their homes when possible and teach lessons over the phone or using other technologies. A Providence man is in jail on 5 counts of sexual assault. Last Monday, police were notified about a sexual abuse incident. 72-year-old Richard Cornell is in Cache County Jail on account of first-degree forcible sodomy and attempted forcible sodomy, 2 second-degree felony counts of forcible sexual abuse, and 1 first-degree count of object rape against a family member.
A runner found a USU track and field athlete collapsed on the track. Paramedics treated Roman Ruiz at the Ralph Mon track on Saturday. A family friend said Ruiz was training over spring break when a runner found him on the ground. Paramedics performed CPR for 35 minutes until they got his heart started. The family friend says he was transported to Logan Regional Hospital, then took an air ambulance to McKay Hospital in Ogden. Ruiz is a sophomore who ranked 5th in all-time in USU history in the heptathlon, also ranks 8th all-time in USU's history in the decathlon.
Utah is known for our snow, but those slopes can become dangerous under certain conditions. Lisa Feinstein shows you what causes avalanche and how you can be safe.
Snowy mountains are where many Utahns go for fun, but search and rescue members say the fun part can be the most dangerous because snow can bring avalanches.
The unfortunate part about avalanches especially is in that 35 to 45 degree sweet spot when avalanches are more prone, that is where it is the most fun to play.
But what causes an avalanche? Shipley says it's not just terrain, slopes, and conditions.
And all those 3 on their own are fine. It's when we add the human element and we trigger. Most of the time it's not a natural thing, it's us triggering the event.
Search and rescue members say in those events, gear can sometimes help.
Here at Utah State Outdoor Programs, they have beacons, shovels, and backpacks. Experts say you should take this gear out, but there's no guarantee it'll save you.
More important than all those tools, this one right here, the brain, those tools won't do you any good if you don't know how to use them and how to avoid avalanches in general. You know, it can take years of working your way up and learning by experience because it's not worth betting your life on.
Lisa Feinstein, ATV News.
Experts say to check Utah Avalanche Center's forecast on their website and to stay off the slope if conditions are above moderate. Our conditions are going to be above moderate this weekend, Lisa. She's here to join us for weather.
They might just be getting above moderate. I have the full forecast for you coming up. The current temperature in Logan is 55 degrees.
Find out why hundreds of patients were turned away from Utah's first dispensary.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom.
It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Hundreds of patients were turned away from the grand opening of Utah's first cannabis pharmacy because of registration issues.
Well, it's been since Friday. I went to the doctor Friday, and I'm still trying to even get through the computer system to get the license to even get through the front door.
Edward Matlock was one of many struggling to get his prescription of medical marijuana at Dragonfly Wellness, Utah's first cannabis pharmacy. Matlock says he is a previous stage 4 cancer patient who found that cannabis helped with his pain. However, Matlock didn't get past the waiting room because he didn't apply on the state's EVS website.
Once you put in your information, your doctor will have access to your record. They can then upload your online letter of recommendation. Once you have that, your application is complete. You can submit it to the Department of Health, pay your $15 fee, and send you an electronic medical cannabis card in the mail.
Other than Dragonfly Dispensary, there are 13 more announced in Utah, including one in Cache Valley.
We're here inside what's going to be Cache Valley's first medical cannabis pharmacy. So the pharmacy owners say that they hope to open the doors by the end of this month.
Narth says that cannabis is a good alternative to drugs that can be potentially more harmful for you, such as opioids.
Anybody who's been in Utah long enough has been 1 degree of separation from somebody who suffered from opioid addiction. I've lost friends, I've lost people in my life for no fault of their own.
Narth says he hopes that eventually cannabis will be recreationally legal in Utah.
To find out more about the laws and regulations of medical cannabis, you can go to medicalcannabis.utah.gov.
Logan City is planning to put $20 million or more to revitalize the city. Mayor Holly Danes says the Emporium may be changing into a plaza to help create foot traffic. Her hope is the plaza will be a place where locals and students can go to relax and have a good time. The revitalization would include a new sign, new apartments, and a large walking area that can be turned into an ice skating rink during the winter. Mayor Danes received some pushback from local business owners because it would affect their businesses. Local shop owner Bryce Bosworth said that it isn't even legal for them to change the area because of a contract back in 1969. Bosworth also said he appreciates the 2 city council members who reached out to, but is sad that other members aren't giving them the benefit of the doubt.
So that's a little heartbreaking that our own city council, I felt like, has not done their due diligence in reaching out to those who definitely affect. That's me.
Bozeman feels that George Dane's idea to expand parking and create a plaza south of the Emporium block would create better foot traffic. The Bosworth brothers say local theaters have also shown support for the George Dane's idea and are willing to hold pre-shows for concerts. A public hearing will be held at City Hall on March 17th at 5:30 p.m. It is expected that the results of what will happen to the Emporium will be disclosed at this time. A Logan man received a check in the mail with a letter saying he won $500,000. Glade Handy says the letter came from New York. The envelope had a cashier's check for close to $9,000 from Blue Cross Blue Shield in Helena, Montana. The letter said the check was for taxes, shipping, and insurance for his winnings. To Handy, the check appeared to be real.
It's a good check. I mean, I'm sure if I went to Wells Fargo, they'd cash that check.
Handy suspected it was a scam, so he called Blue Cross Blue Shield to confirm, but when they said the check wasn't from them, he knew it was a scam. Handy wants others to learn from his experience and be cautious when something says you have won money.
Are you a student who likes sleeping in? Jonathan May shows you how some students aren't able to enjoy their mornings.
Students at Richards Hall are hearing sounds like this to start their morning.
When I wake up and hear the construction, I think, not again. It's definitely annoying waking up because they start really early. I think they start at like 6 or 7 or so.
Students say it's hard to ignore the noise.
In the daytime when you're just trying to focus on something, but you have sort of like this toddler-like banging in the background where it's always constant. It's just kind of hard to focus. Even when you have your focus goggles on, it'll pierce through them.
When it comes to living next to a construction site like this, students say noise isn't the only problem.
What I care about more is the view. My room in Richards Hall has a really good view, but it doesn't anymore because this construction's going up. Next year it's gonna really block the entire view for Richards Hall, which had a dope view of the mountains.
The noise can serve as an alarm clock.
Sometimes it'll wake me up in the morning, so it'll motivate me to get me up and do something in the morning.
Students say the new parking terrace isn't all that bad.
More parking is a good thing on campus, especially since we've got a pretty interesting parking situation on campus.
USU expects to debut the new parking terrace this fall. Jonathan May, ATV News.
Dave Cowley, USU's Vice President for Business and Finance, says the new parking structure will accommodate the growth.
Are you going to be counted in the 2020 U.S. Census? the Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander community is making sure they're included. This is the viral video of the U.S. Census released to promote people of the Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander community to participate in the 2020 U.S. Census. According to the Bureau, the NHPI population has been historically hard to count.
It makes me more excited to participate in the census, and it makes me feel like the government is aware of my group as its own group.
USU Polynesian Student Union is practicing this Tongan dance for their annual luau. A PSU member says the luau will take place during US-USA Traditions Week on April 15th.
Thanks for joining me on this. Thanks for joining me for ATV weather. This is Lisa Feinstein. Let's take a look at what the weather is going to be like tomorrow. So for your 8 a.m. classes, 8 a.m.s, 9 a.m.s, when you're waking up in the morning, you're going to want to bundle up with a couple of jackets because we're going to see 31 degrees tomorrow morning. Then later on in the afternoon, around 2 p.m., it's going to warm up to a couple of degrees to about 39 degrees. So keep that jacket on hand, but when you're walking around campus, it's still going to be a little bit chilly. So later tomorrow night, when you're heading home from class or you're heading to the library to study, the temperatures are actually going to bump up a little bit to 44. And so let's take a look at the national forecast. So the biggest thing that we have going on is this storm happening in the Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee area. This is expected because hurricane season is upon us. So they're seeing a lot of storms happening, a lot of rain, and so they're getting hit pretty hard over there in those southern states. Also in Arizona, as you can see, there are a lot of those scattered storms coming up, going up to Utah. Those storms are probably going to be cooling down those Arizona temperatures that they've been having. They've been having those high temps, so those storms are probably going to help out with that. The West Coast is also getting hit with those storms over there as well. So as you can see, Utah's pretty clear, so let's take a look at the state radar. So with these dark blue little patches you see here, that's going to be most of our rain, which as you can see, things are pretty clear other than southern Utah. It's a pretty big storm week for southern Utah, so while things are warming up for us up here up north, St. George is kind of experiencing a lot of rain. So with that, let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. So I touched on Wednesday. I've already talked about today, and there's going to be 20% chance of thunderstorms tonight, and then tomorrow and Friday, sunshine, and then we've got storms headed out through the rest of the week. So a little bit of cold temperatures, so watch out for that snow this weekend. Thanks for joining me with ATV weather coming up on ATV News.
Sam Merrill won his second mountain. Who knew how he would live and do that in sports?
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Tied at 56, Merrill
Sam Merrill with the shot to beat the Aztecs 2 years in a row. Welcome to Aggie Sports. I'm Brandon Dean. Our resident basketball expert, Adam Larson, was on the floor in Las Vegas for the Mountain West basketball tournament. So, Adam, how was the tournament?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Sam Merrill was, he went crazy, but, you know, that's nothing new. Here in Las Vegas, Utah State had to take on New Mexico in its first game of the Mountain West Conference Tournament. Sam Merrill had a dominant performance against the Lobos, hitting 3 of his 29 points here. But Vance Jackson would respond late for the Lobos, keeping this game tied before Diogo Brito would hit a 3 as a dagger to put the Aggies ahead for good. Coach Paul Weir had some high praise for Merrill after the game.
He's amazing. He should be in the NBA draft. He kicked our ass. He kicked my ass. He's a great basketball player. I wish him all the best. He was exceptional tonight.
Wyoming was hot shooting against Utah State in semifinals as Kenny Foster drills 3 of his 18, but Sam Merrill stayed hot as well, hitting 2 crazy shots at the end of the game to keep the Aggies in front and send them to the championship game.
If you can't get yourself physically or emotionally motivated for a championship game against a top 10 team, then probably don't deserve to be here. Yeah.
Neemias Queta throws down the hammer and one dunk in a rematch of last year's Mountain West Conference championship game. But Malachi Flynn able to keep this close late with the jumper. He had 16 points in the game. Neemias Queta again for 2 of his 15 to keep the Aggie lead late in the game. But Sam Merrill, with the score tied in less than 10 seconds, able to drill the 3 to punch the Aggies' ticket into the championship game. Utah State advances to the NCAA tournament and wins the Mountain West Conference Championship for the 2nd straight season.
We still have some unfinished business to take care of. I think that last year we just didn't go our way, and I feel that we're prepared now.
Coach Smith had some high praise for Sam Merrill after the game.
I love that guy. He's just everything that a college athlete's all about.
Confetti rained down as Utah State beat San Diego State, punching their ticket to the NCAA tournament. They'll just have to wait to find out where they play. Reporting from the Thomas & Mack Center, Adam Larson, ATV News.
Man, Adam, that seems like it was a really fun game to be at.
Yeah, it was fun for sure. You know, Utah State was the first time since 2014 that a team has won back-to-back Mountain West Conference championships, and Sam Merrill did become the only player in tournament history to win 2 tournament MVPs, and he did it in back-to-back seasons.
Yeah, he really is that good.
Yeah.
Who do you think we'll be playing coming up in the NCAA tournament?
You know, right now we're projected to be a 10 seed, playing a 7 seed, someone that's like Michigan, Arizona, Penn State most likely. And in the bracket predictions, a lot of them have us playing in the first round in Cleveland. So back to Ohio just like we were last season.
Yeah, sadly no fans will be able to attend that tournament there to cheer on our Aggies due to the coronavirus. NCAA President Mark Emmert says he will monitor the situation going forward, but the tournament is still happening as of today.
Sad there won't be fans there, but I'm sure it's a good thing, and not surprised with this virus that they're not letting fans go.
The women's team was also in Vegas for the Mountain West Championship, but lost in the quarterfinals to Wyoming, but became the first number 11 seed to win a game in the tournament by defeating the number 6 ranked San Diego State in overtime. The gymnastics team hosted BYU for senior night on Friday at the Spectrum. Seniors Brittany Jepson and Ellie Gollison were honored after the meet, where the number 26 ranked Aggies defeated number 17 ranked BYU. The only event the Aggies didn't take was the vault, but they were highlighted by junior Michaela Meyer, tying for 3rd place with a 9.85. Up next was the uneven bars, where senior Brittany Jepson and freshman Sophie Sullivan both tied for 1st place with a 9.9, giving the Aggies a 49.275 in the event. Junior Autumn DeHardy took 1st place on the beam with a 9.875, giving the Aggies a team score of 49 even. Again taking 1st place with her electrifying floor routine was Autumn DeHardy, getting a career-high 9.95, which ties the all-time school record for 2nd place. Look at that height she's able to get right there. That routine is so impressive in person. DeHardy is tied for 1st in the conference for both beam and floor. The team scored a 49.225 for the floor routines and defeated BYU with a total score of 196.6 to 196.45. The Aggies will be in Salt Lake on Friday, taking on the number 4 ranked University of Utah at 7 p.m. The lacrosse team started off spring break with a 2-game homestand, taking on the Wyoming Cowboys and Fort Lewis Skyhawks. The Aggies got off to a booming start with 8 goals in the first quarter. Tanner Smith beats 2 defenders out of the corner, throws a skip pass to Hunter Pearson, who was alone up front, finding his mark. Pearson again has the ball in his stick, this time working his way from behind the net. He spies Brock Arbon, beating his defender to the cage. Arbon had a team-leading 5 goals on the night. Aggie offense was non-existent in the second quarter, but good goaltending by Berkeley Baskin and strong defensive play held the Cowboys to just 3 goals on the quarter. Scoring heated back up in the third. Pearson again with the ball draws 3 Wyoming defenders to him, then dishes it off to Hunter Kuhn in front of the net, who slides it tweeners on goalie Chris Welch. Penalty trouble for the Cowboys in the fourth quarter allowed the Aggies to stay ahead with 2 man-up goals. However, some miscommunication at the face-off X let Wyoming come within 1 when they were able to score 3 goals in under a minute. The Aggies held strong with a final score of 14-13.
We were pretty confident going into the game. We had a game plan, we had our sets and everything that was prepared, but they kind of caught us off guard with their intensity, so they made it a really, really good game.
The Aggies' next game against the Fort Lewis Skyhawks went a little differently. Jeff Brueggemann dominated the face-off X, winning 28 of 33, giving the Aggies possession for most of the game. The Skyhawks did not have an answer for him, trying 4 different midfielders against him. 4 Aggies got at least a hat trick this game and led 13-1 going into the second half. Goaltender Berkeley Baskin held strong while he was in net and contributed to some of the offense on this play here as he made the save, then sent the ball upfield, leading to one of Tanner Smith's 4 goals. Carter McFadden and Hunter Pearson would each get 4 of their own. Baskin would surrender his net early in the second half, allowing junior Zach Blamirez to get some experience. Fort Lewis goalie Dylan Gaver tried to jumpstart his team's offense by leaving the net, but ran into pressure from Carter McFadden, allowing Tanner Smith the shot at an empty net. The Skyhawks only had 4 subs on their bench, and although they were outgunned, they never gave up. The final score was USU 24, Fort Lewis 5. The lacrosse team traveled to Bozeman, Montana later in the week to take on St. John's and Montana State, but lost in both games. Your next chance to see them at home will be on the 27th against the College of Idaho. You're all caught up on Aggie sports. Back to you at the desk, Austin.
Thanks, Brandon. YSL held a fundraiser so local artists can get their name out. Local venues trying to change that.
Y-Sound held a fundraiser so local artists can take their talents to the next level. Last Saturday, 9 bands played upstairs and down for people who attended.
Of live performances, we do a lot of studio recordings, and as this label idea develops, we're planning on taking artists to a bigger stage of taking them to a tour, taking them to trying to get music placed in blogs and playlists and all that kind of thing.
Y-Sound hosted live events and concerts to entertain fans of indie music. Thank you for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
You can find all the latest editions on our Facebook page.
We will leave you with some shots of the Natural Sciences building.
Have a great week, Aggies.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. That means many of the future doctors who will care for us, the engineers who will build our cities, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids. We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why we want you to know you are not alone. And every day, more people support you to make it happen. Many support you. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education. Learn more at hsf.net.
Look at me, hey. Look at me, hey.
Raymond, look at mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.